The B-17 Flying Fortress was one of the most iconic and effective bombers of World War II. Developed by Boeing during the late 1930s, it revolutionized strategic bombing with its ability to carry large payloads over long distances while maintaining a formidable defense system. The B-17 earned its nickname, Flying Fortress, due to its numerous machine guns, 13 in total, arranged in defensive positions across the aircraft, making it difficult for enemy fighters to approach undetected. This robust defensive layout, coupled with its sturdy construction, gave the B-17 the ability to endure heavy damage and continue flying. Despite these advantages, the B-17 was not invincible. Flying missions over enemy-occupied territory was a high-risk endeavor. Bombers were vulnerable to enemy fighters, flak guns, and mechanical failures that could quickly turn a seemingly safe mission into a life-threatening situation. Crews were trained rigorously, but even the most prepared could face unforeseen challenges. One of the most critical crew positions was that of the tail gunner. Positioned at the rear of the aircraft, this role required constant vigilance to guard against attacks from behind, a position that left the gunner exposed to enemy fire and perilously close to the danger. In many cases, the tail gunner's seat was not armored, and they operated in a space that was open to the elements. Their vulnerability was matched only by their importance, as they played a crucial role in the bomber's defensive strategy. In the tense, high-stakes environment of a bombing mission, the tail gunner was often the last line of defense against enemy aircraft. Their ability to quickly respond to threats often meant the difference between completing a mission and losing a crew member or the entire aircraft. The experiences of tail gunners highlight the bravery required to perform this critical role, especially during missions that frequently push the boundaries of human endurance and resilience. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner inside stands as a powerful testament to the courage demonstrated by these individuals, who endured not only the physical challenges of combat, but also the psychological toll of being in such an exposed position. The specific incident of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner trapped inside is one of the most harrowing stories of World War II aviation. These massive bombers were built with extraordinary resilience in mind, but even the best engineering couldn't prevent all potential failures. In this case, the unexpected detachment of a B-17 tail section mid-flight created a dire situation that demanded immediate and decisive action from the crew. Typically, B-17 crews consisted of 10 to 13 members, including pilots, navigators, bombardiers, engineers, radio operators, and gunners stationed at various positions to provide a 360-degree defense. The tail gunner, positioned at the rear of the aircraft, was responsible for guarding against enemy aircraft approaching from behind. However, when the tail section detached during a bombing mission, the crew faced a level of danger few had anticipated. The moment the tail fell away, the gunner inside became trapped, dangling hundreds of feet in the air with nothing but open sky behind them. The situation was dire, exposed to the elements, vulnerable to the extreme forces of the aircraft's motion, and with little means of escape. The crew had to rely on their quick thinking, training, and communication to handle the crisis and attempt a safe landing despite the loss of a critical section of their aircraft. In such moments, the physical strain and emotional stress on the gunner were unimaginable. The loss of a structural component, particularly the tail, compromised the stability and flight dynamics of the aircraft, making it difficult for the crew to maintain control. Yet, despite the odds, the crew worked together to ensure the safety of everyone on board, even as they managed the terrifying situation unfolding behind them. This incident not only demonstrated the resilience of the B-17 and its crew, but also highlighted the extreme vulnerability that gunners faced in these moments of crisis. The story of the gunner trapped inside the falling tail serves as a powerful reminder of the risks associated with strategic bombing missions and the bravery required to overcome them. The tail gunner played one of the most crucial and dangerous roles aboard a B-17 Flying Fortress. Positioned at the rear of the aircraft, this role required a unique blend of skill, focus, and bravery. Tail gunners were tasked with defending the bomber from attacks from enemy aircraft approaching from behind. Unlike the forward or side gunners, who had a more varied field of vision and coverage. The tail gunner had the unenviable task of constantly watching the skies behind them while the bomber flew into enemy territory. In combat, the tail gunner's position was essential for protecting the integrity of the bomber's defensive perimeter. Enemy fighters would often attempt to sneak up from behind, exploiting the vulnerability created by the aircraft's large size and slower speed. Without a tail gunner, the B-17 was susceptible to being attacked from the rear, a position difficult to defend effectively without dedicated firepower. The tail gunner, therefore, stood as a critical safeguard against these threats, armed with machine guns and tasked with warding off enemy fighters with minimal support from other crew members. The challenges of this role extended beyond the immediate danger posed by enemy fire. Tail gunners had to endure extreme physical conditions, including limited space, constant turbulence, and exposure to the elements. Flying missions often lasted several hours, and gunners were required to maintain high levels of concentration throughout the entire mission. A momentary lapse in vigilance could have catastrophic consequences, especially in the heat of battle. Moreover, the psychological toll of being stationed at the rear was significant. Tail gunners often faced isolation, knowing that they had limited means of escape if the bomber encountered severe damage. In the event of an emergency, such as the detachment of the tail section, the gunner would find themselves in an even more perilous position, exposed with no immediate support. Yet, despite these challenges, tail gunners demonstrated remarkable courage and professionalism. Recognizing their critical role in protecting the lives of their fellow crew members and contributing to the mission's success. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner inside serves as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by these brave individuals. Their commitment to defending the bomber, even when confronted with near-impossible odds, exemplifies the unbreakable resolve that made tail gunners integral to the success of every mission they flew. The crew of a B-17 Flying Fortress was made up of highly trained individuals, each with a distinct and vital role to play in ensuring the success and safety of the mission. However, when a crisis arose, such as the sudden loss of a tail section with a gunner trapped inside, the entire crew had to come together as a unified team to navigate the perilous situation. This required extraordinary bravery, quick thinking, and an unwavering commitment to each other's safety. In the face of such adversity, the crew had to coordinate seamlessly despite the chaos unfolding around them. Pilots, navigators, bombardiers, gunners, and engineers all had specific responsibilities, but during emergencies, they needed to adapt and collaborate in new ways to ensure the aircraft could continue flying safely toward its destination. For the crew of a B-17, this often meant making split-second decisions that could mean the difference between life and death. When the tail section detached, the pilot's primary task became managing the control of the aircraft while balancing the aircraft's weight and flight stability. With the loss of a critical part, the B-17's handling became unstable, and without the tail section, the risk of a catastrophic crash was ever present. The crew had to rely on their collective training to keep the bomber aloft, even with diminished control capabilities. Meanwhile, the gunners, especially those positioned at the rear, had to maintain defensive positions, while the bombardier worked with the navigator to ensure that the mission's objectives were met, even with the added challenges. Engineers and radio operators assisted in troubleshooting any mechanical failures and maintaining communication with ground control and other aircraft in the formation. Throughout the ordeal, each crew member displayed remarkable courage. They trusted one another to perform their duties flawlessly, even as the aircraft faced unpredictable turbulence and the threat of enemy encounters. The crew's determination to ensure the survival of the trapped gunner and themselves exemplified the values of teamwork, resilience, and duty that were paramount during combat missions. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner inside highlights the sheer strength of character and unity demonstrated by flight crews during World War II. Each member contributed to a shared goal, keeping their bomber in the air and returning safely despite the life-threatening circumstances they faced. The B-17 Flying Fortress was a technological marvel for its time, but even the most advanced engineering couldn't always prevent unexpected mechanical failures. The complex systems on board required constant maintenance and careful operation to ensure the safety and effectiveness of the bomber during missions. When a B-17 tail detached mid-flight, the technical challenges became glaringly apparent, pushing the aircraft and the crew to their limits. One of the most critical systems affected by the detachment of the tail was the aircraft's stability and control. The tail section housed the crucial stabilizers, rudder, and elevators necessary for maintaining balance and guiding the aircraft. Without these components, the B-17's ability to remain airborne and navigate safely was severely compromised. The loss of this section required an immediate reassessment of the plane's flight dynamics, forcing the crew to adapt to the drastically altered handling characteristics. Additionally, the loss of the tail introduced complications in other systems, including the hydraulic and electrical systems, which powered the flight instruments and communication equipment. Engineers and crew members worked tirelessly to manage these systems, troubleshooting potential failures while maintaining a steady course. The weight distribution was also thrown off, requiring precise adjustments from the pilot to avoid rolling or nosediving. The engineering design of the B-17 allowed for redundancy in key systems, such as multiple engines and backup navigation equipment, providing a degree of resilience. However, even with these backup systems, ensuring that the aircraft remained operational with a missing tail section added an immense layer of difficulty. The structural integrity of the remaining fuselage had to be carefully monitored, and any additional damage could have been catastrophic. In moments like these, the expertise of the crew, particularly the engineers and maintenance officers, became critical. Their ability to manage the technical aspects of the crisis was as essential as the courage shown by the gunners and other flight crew members. The complexity of the B-17 systems, combined with the pressure of a life-or-death situation, meant that the crew's technical proficiency was tested beyond measure. After the unexpected detachment of the B-17's tail section, the crew faced the daunting challenge of safely navigating the aircraft to the ground. Without the stabilizing forces of the tail, maintaining control became increasingly difficult, making the descent a high-risk endeavor. The crew had to rely on their training, teamwork, and quick decision-making to ensure a controlled landing, despite the compromised state of their aircraft. As the pilot struggled to keep the bomber steady, the rest of the crew worked together to manage various aspects of the descent. The bombardier and navigator provided guidance on heading and altitude, while gunners monitored threats from behind to fend off any enemy aircraft attempting to attack during the vulnerable flight phase. Meanwhile, engineers and flight crew focused on stabilizing critical systems, ensuring that instruments remained operational and communications with ground control were maintained. One of the most critical aspects of the descent was weight distribution. With the tail section lost, the balance of the aircraft shifted significantly. The crew had to distribute fuel and cargo carefully to avoid any unbalanced movements that could result in a crash. The pilot had to make constant adjustments to the ailerons and rudder to maintain the aircraft's alignment. Even small deviations from control could have caused a deadly spiral or loss of altitude. Additionally, the descent required constant monitoring of engine performance. Without the tail stabilizers, engine output had to be carefully managed to prevent strain or overheating. Any miscalculation could have resulted in engine failure or loss of altitude, making every decision critical to the bomber's survival. Despite the extreme challenges, the crew displayed remarkable composure and coordination. The descent was a delicate process, one that required unwavering focus from all involved. It was not only about reaching the ground safely, but also about minimizing risk to ensure the lives of the crew and any passengers aboard were preserved. The teamwork demonstrated during this critical phase of flight highlighted the strength and unity of the B-17 crew, even when faced with near-impossible odds. In the midst of a crisis like a B-17 tail detachment mid-flight, communication and teamwork became more vital than ever. The complexity of the situation demanded that every crew member worked together seamlessly, despite the high-pressure environment. Each role on the aircraft was interconnected, and without clear communication and coordination, the risk of failure increased exponentially. The pilot relied on the rest of the crew to provide critical information about the aircraft's condition, including altitude, heading, engine performance, and any potential threats. At the same time, the bombardier and navigator worked to keep the aircraft on course toward the intended target or a safe landing zone, while gunners defended the aircraft from enemy fighters that could exploit the bomber's instability. Effective communication wasn't just about relaying instructions. It also involved providing real-time feedback on the aircraft's condition. Engineers and technicians on board had to troubleshoot and address any mechanical failures while keeping the crew informed of progress. Radio operators maintained contact with ground control, relaying updates on the aircraft status and receiving assistance from other aircraft formations, should reinforcements or backup be needed. Teamwork was equally essential in the crew's ability to divide tasks efficiently. Each member had a specific area of focus: piloting, navigation, gunnery, engineering, but in a crisis, these roles often overlapped. For instance, the pilot needed to depend on feedback from gunners to defend the rear, while engineers worked in tandem with flight crew to manage the mechanical and electrical challenges posed by the missing tail. During such moments, mistakes could have catastrophic consequences. A single miscommunication or failure to adapt to the changing dynamics of the situation could have resulted in an unrecoverable descent or an inability to control the aircraft. Yet, through constant vigilance, adaptability, and cooperation, the crew maintained their composure and successfully guided the aircraft to a safe resolution. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner inside underscores the profound importance of effective communication and teamwork under pressure. These attributes became not only essential for mission success, but for the survival of the crew itself. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner trapped inside is a gripping testament to survival against overwhelming odds. When a critical section of an aircraft detaches mid-flight, the crew faces an unimaginable crisis, navigating a treacherous balance between life and death. For the gunner caught in the falling tail, the situation was dire, with only moments to endure the extreme vulnerability and uncertainty of what lay ahead. Despite the odds stacked against them, their ability to persist in the face of such adversity speaks volumes about the resilience and determination required to face the impossible. Survival, in such a situation, relied on more than just physical endurance. The gunner was thrust into an intense mental and emotional struggle, facing isolation, fear, and the constant threat of falling or being exposed to enemy attack. Every second counted, and even the smallest actions could mean the difference between life and death. The psychological toll was immense, forcing the gunner to stay grounded in the reality of the present moment while simultaneously holding onto the hope of a safe resolution. The crew's response to this crisis was equally critical. Despite being thousands of feet above enemy territory, with a severely compromised aircraft, the collective will to survive drove their every decision. Each member contributed in ways that pushed the boundaries of what was possible, adjusting weight distribution, stabilizing the aircraft, and providing real-time feedback to the pilot. The team's ability to adapt and work cohesively in such a harrowing situation exemplified the profound strength that can be found in unity. Moreover, the gunner's survival wasn't only about endurance. It was about making the most of every resource available. Tools, communication, and the expertise of the crew became essential in managing the crisis. The courage displayed by the gunner, coupled with the crew's relentless determination, exemplifies the human capacity to overcome extreme odds when faced with impossible circumstances. The memory of such moments serves as a powerful reminder that resilience is often born from the most dire situations. It is in these life-or-death experiences that the true nature of survival is tested, when fear, doubt, and danger are ever present, yet individuals push forward through sheer force of will and determination. The story of survival against overwhelming odds remains a legacy that honors the strength and perseverance of those who lived it. The aftermath of an incident like a B-17 tail falling with a gunner inside was a time of intense scrutiny, investigation, and learning. Following such a harrowing event, the military and aviation authorities would thoroughly examine every detail to understand how the situation unfolded and how future incidents could be prevented. For the crew involved, it was not only a time to reflect on the immediate survival, but also to face the questions and challenges that arose from the experience. Investigations were conducted to assess the mechanical failure that led to the detachment of the tail section. Engineers and technicians analyzed the structural integrity of the aircraft, looking for flaws in the design, manufacturing, or maintenance that may have contributed to the incident. Any patterns that emerged were closely studied to revise maintenance protocols and design specifications to prevent similar issues from occurring in future missions. Furthermore, the crew's actions and decision-making processes were carefully reviewed. Military officials sought to understand how the crew managed the crisis under extreme pressure, focusing on communication, coordination, and their ability to adapt to the changing dynamics of the situation. This helped refine training programs for future missions, ensuring that pilots and crews were better prepared to handle similar emergencies. In some cases, crews who survived such incidents were honored for their bravery and resourcefulness. Awards and commendations were often given to recognize the courage and skill demonstrated during the crisis. However, for the crews, the true reward lay in the knowledge that they had overcome the impossible odds and returned home safely, despite the near-catastrophic experience. The lessons learned from these incidents contributed to the evolution of aerial combat and flight technology. Post-incident analyses helped improve aircraft design, emergency procedures, and crew training, enhancing the safety and effectiveness of future missions. Innovations such as better safety protocols, redundant systems, and advancements in structural engineering stem from these experiences, shaping the future of military aviation. Ultimately, the aftermath of such incidents was about growth, not only for the crews who faced them, but for the broader military and aviation communities seeking to advance their capabilities and ensure the safety of future missions. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner inside has become a lasting symbol of bravery, resilience, and the risks faced by those who served during World War II. These incidents, while extraordinary in their intensity, reflect the broader experience of countless aircrews who took to the skies in heavily armed bombers, facing dangers on missions that stretched across enemy territory. The legacy of these events extends beyond the immediate crisis, influencing military aviation and the broader understanding of combat in high-stakes, life-or-death situations. The experiences of these crews contributed to the development of a strong sense of camaraderie and mutual reliance. During missions, crew members formed unbreakable bonds, knowing that their collective survival depended on their ability to work together, adapt, and support each other. In the face of mechanical failures, enemy threats, and the unpredictable nature of aerial combat, this unity became the foundation of their strength. Additionally, these events helped shape the evolution of military tactics and aviation technology. The bravery displayed by gunners, pilots, and flight engineers highlighted the need for more robust training programs and advanced equipment to handle the complexities of aerial warfare. The survival of crew members trapped in harrowing situations pushed designers and engineers to innovate new solutions, such as reinforced aircraft structures, improved safety systems, and greater emphasis on mission planning and emergency protocols. Beyond the technical advancements, these stories have had a profound impact on the historical memory of World War II. They serve as powerful reminders of the sacrifices made and the unyielding spirit of those who defended freedom against oppressive forces. The narratives of survival, like that of the gunner trapped in a falling B-17 tail, continue to be shared, ensuring that the courage of these individuals is not forgotten. For those who experience these moments firsthand, the impact lasted a lifetime. Whether through reunions, memoirs, or historical commemorations, the lessons of survival and unity left an indelible mark on their lives. They represent not just the technical and tactical challenges faced during the war, but the enduring human spirit that continues to inspire generations long after the conflict ended. The experience of a B-17 tail, falling with a gunner trapped inside, was not only physically exhausting, but also deeply emotional and psychologically taxing for the entire crew. Combat missions were already grueling, requiring immense physical stamina, mental focus, and emotional resilience. However, when faced with life-threatening situations like this, the toll on the crew's mental well-being became profound. The uncertainty, fear, and isolation associated with such high-stakes events left a lasting impression on those involved. For the gunner trapped in the falling tail, the immediate psychological impact was overwhelming. The feeling of helplessness, combined with the constant threat of falling or being exposed to enemy fire, created an intense sense of isolation. The mind, unable to process the surreal reality of being caught in such a precarious position, was forced into overdrive to manage panic, maintain focus, and find small ways to endure the experience. The emotional strain of being cut off from the rest of the crew, with no immediate support, compounded the psychological distress. The rest of the crew also faced tremendous psychological challenges. Watching a section of their aircraft detach mid-flight, knowing that one of their own was at risk, created a deep sense of vulnerability. The feeling of helplessness, coupled with the uncertainty of whether the gunner would survive or if they could safely land the aircraft, was overwhelming. Survivors often spoke of the emotional toll long after the mission was completed. Flashbacks, nightmares, and a lingering fear of mechanical failures became part of their post-war reality. Moreover, the mental strain extended beyond the immediate crisis. The constant exposure to death and destruction in combat led to what is now recognized as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Crew members frequently returned from missions with unresolved emotions, haunted by the constant threat of peril and the loss of comrades. Even those who survived with their physical health intact often struggled with the psychological scars left by their experiences. In the aftermath, support systems were gradually developed to address the emotional and psychological needs of veterans. Therapy, peer support groups, and survivor networks became essential in helping former crew members process their experiences and reintegrate into civilian life. The realization that mental health required attention, just as physical wounds did, underscored the importance of addressing the full scope of trauma faced by those who served in combat. The emotional and psychological toll of such intense situations demonstrates that bravery is not only about physical survival, but also about enduring the mental challenges that come with extraordinary circumstances. The stories of these experiences continue to shed light on the human cost of war and the need for empathy and support for those who have faced unspeakable hardship. The harrowing experience of a B-17 tail, falling with a gunner trapped inside, played a significant role in advancing aviation safety protocols and engineering design. Over the course of World War II, incidents like this one drove the development of new technologies and practices aimed at preventing such catastrophic failures and ensuring the safety of both crew and aircraft. The focus shifted toward building more resilient, reliable aircraft with redundancy in critical systems and improved structural integrity. One of the major advancements was the implementation of reinforced fuselage structures and improved mechanical support systems. Aircraft designers took lessons learned from incidents like the detachment of the tail and applied them to enhance the durability of key components. Structural innovations, such as stronger aluminum alloys and increased weld points, helped improve the overall integrity of the airframe. Tail sections were subjected to more rigorous stress testing to ensure that they could withstand high forces without failure. Additionally, developments in hydraulic and electrical systems were made to provide redundancy, ensuring that if one system failed, backup systems would seamlessly take over. This was especially important in maintaining control and stability during emergencies, such as the loss of a critical section of the aircraft. Engineers worked on creating more efficient ways to manage weight distribution, balance, and load, enabling aircraft to fly safely even when structural integrity was compromised. Another key advancement was in the area of safety protocols and emergency procedures. Crews became more adept at handling crises through more extensive training programs. Flight training simulations for emergency scenarios, such as partial aircraft detachment or mechanical failures, became a routine part of preparation. These practices helped improve crew coordination, communication, and decision-making in high-stress situations. The post-incident investigations following events like the B-17 tail detachment also led to the development of better risk assessment strategies. Flight engineers, in particular, were tasked with conducting more thorough pre-mission inspections to identify potential weak points or areas prone to failure. This ensured that the likelihood of encountering catastrophic failures was reduced. Furthermore, these advancements extended beyond just structural design. The role of the gunners, for example, became better integrated with overall aircraft safety. New technologies, such as remote-controlled gun turrets or advanced gunnery systems, helped reduce the risk of individual crew members being exposed to extreme danger. The collective effort to minimize risk and increase crew protection became a driving force behind the evolution of aviation safety. Ultimately, the lessons learned from incidents like a B-17 tail falling with a gunner trapped inside contributed to a safer and more resilient generation of aircraft. These advancements laid the groundwork for the future of military aviation, ensuring that the bravery and ingenuity displayed by crews during World War II were supported by stronger, more secure aircraft. The story of a B-17 tail falling with a gunner trapped inside is more than a harrowing tale of survival. It is a testament to the resilience, bravery, and sacrifice that defined the experiences of World War II airmen. These men and women who took to the skies in the most dangerous missions were not only fighters in a physical sense, but also in a mental and emotional battle against the odds. Their unwavering resolve, willingness to endure hardship, and ultimate sacrifices have left an indelible mark on history. Resilience was a defining characteristic of those who flew missions in heavily armed bombers. Every sortie was fraught with risk, from mechanical failures and enemy combat to the constant strain of managing the complexities of aerial combat. For the gunner trapped in the falling tail, the need for resilience became acute. Facing isolation, fear, and the prospect of a sudden, untimely end, the ability to persevere was crucial to navigating the dire circumstances. Resilience, in this context, was about holding on, mentally and physically, while relying on the strength and determination of the entire crew to work through the crisis. Sacrifice was equally central to the experiences of these airmen. Every crew member, whether pilot, engineer, gunner, or navigator, contributed to the mission with the understanding that the stakes were high and the risk significant. The sacrifices made were not only in terms of risking life and limb, but also in enduring long hours of discomfort, enduring relentless enemy attacks, and accepting the loss of comrades. The B-17 gunner's survival, therefore, is not just a story of individual courage, but of collective sacrifice, each crew member playing a vital role to ensure the safety and mission success of their aircraft. These airmen knew they were part of something larger than themselves, protecting their country, advancing freedom, and defending those who could not fight for themselves. Their sacrifices were not just personal. They were made for a greater cause. From ensuring the safety of crew members during critical missions to the constant vigilance required to survive, the spirit of sacrifice became a driving force behind every decision made in the air. Moreover, the legacy of these experiences extends far beyond the war itself. The stories of resilience and sacrifice serve as a powerful reminder of the human capacity to overcome adversity when united in purpose. These men and women became symbols of hope, courage, and the enduring strength of the human spirit, embodying a legacy that continues to inspire generations long after the conflict ended. The B-17 tail incident is a poignant reminder of the trials and sacrifices made by those who flew during World War II, and their stories ensure that their legacy of resilience and sacrifice lives on, honoring the immense contribution they made to the freedom enjoyed today. Their resilience and sacrifice were not just about surviving individual missions, but about contributing to a larger war effort that required the collective strength of thousands of airmen. The missions flown by B-17 crews were often exhausting, stretching over multiple hours or even days, enduring dangerous conditions and constant threats from enemy fighters and anti-aircraft fire. In this environment, each airman relied on their comrades and their own mental fortitude to navigate perilous circumstances, knowing that failure could result in loss not only of their own lives, but of their fellow crew members as well. These experiences deeply affected the emotional and psychological well-being of the crew. The mental strain of combat could linger long after the final mission. Post-traumatic stress was an all-too-common consequence for many veterans, with memories of near-death encounters, intense bomb runs, and the relentless fear of mechanical failures staying with them long after the war. However, their ability to endure and process these experiences speaks to the extraordinary resilience that was fostered by the bond formed through shared hardship and sacrifice. The stories of these airmen are woven into the broader history of World War II, offering a glimpse into the harsh realities of aerial combat and the courage required to face them. The gunner in the falling tail, along with the entire crew, represents a microcosm of the sacrifices made on a much larger scale by countless individuals who contributed to the Allied victory. Their actions remind us of the profound importance of duty, honor, and the unshakable resolve needed to push through the darkest moments of war. As time has passed, the memory of these men has been honored in various ways, through monuments, memorials, documentaries, and reunions, keeping their stories alive for future generations. Their legacy serves not only as a historical reminder of the sacrifices made for freedom, but also as a symbol of resilience that continues to inspire resilience in the face of adversity, whether in the context of personal struggles or collective societal challenges. The B-17 tail incident embodies the essence of resilience and sacrifice. Their story of survival and the enduring strength they displayed exemplifies the indomitable spirit of those who served in World War II. It is a testament to the power of unity, courage, and the human capacity to persevere in the face of impossible odds. The legacy of resilience and sacrifice continues to resonate in modern times, offering valuable lessons on perseverance, adaptability, and the importance of community support during difficult times. As we reflect on these stories, we are reminded of the sacrifices made not just for a nation at war, but for the preservation of freedom, democracy, and the well-being of future generations. The resilience of B-17 crews also reflects broader human experiences of overcoming adversity. Throughout history, people have faced moments where survival seemed impossible, yet they pushed forward through sheer determination and the support of those around them. Whether in wartime or in personal battles, the principles demonstrated by these airmen remain universally relevant. Strength in unity, the courage to face the unknown, and the ability to rise above fear and uncertainty. The sacrifice of these individuals, who willingly faced danger to protect others, is deeply interwoven into the fabric of history. Their stories remind us that true bravery often involves not only physical endurance, but also emotional resilience. Their experiences serve as a poignant reminder of the cost of freedom and the depth of commitment required to uphold it. In the years following the war, many of these survivors chose to share their experiences, ensuring that the memory of their sacrifices and triumphs lived on. These first-hand accounts continue to inspire younger generations, providing insights into the realities of war and the unwavering spirit of those who served. Their stories remind us that resilience is not a singular trait. It is cultivated through shared experiences, mutual support, and the pursuit of a greater cause. As society continues to evolve, the lessons of resilience and sacrifice continue to be relevant in the face of modern challenges. Whether confronting personal hardships, social injustices, or global crises, the courage and determination displayed by B-17 crews serve as a timeless source of inspiration, a beacon for those navigating adversity in every walk of life. The spirit of those who faced such harrowing circumstances reminds us that even in moments of profound vulnerability, the human spirit can endure and prevail. Their legacy, marked by survival against insurmountable odds, teaches us to confront challenges with strength, unity, and an unyielding commitment to a greater purpose. Their legacy serves as a powerful reminder that no challenge is insurmountable when faced with resilience and determination. The story of the B-17 gunner trapped in the falling tail, along with the crew's unwavering commitment to one another, highlights the importance of hope, adaptability, and the ability to find strength even in the darkest moments. This resilience was not only limited to the immediate situation, but also extended to the broader war effort. The survival and success of air missions depended on teamwork and mutual trust, qualities that were cultivated through countless hours of training, shared experiences, and the shared burden of risk. The ability to remain composed under pressure, to trust in one's comrades, and to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances became essential not only for individual survival, but for the collective success of the mission. In addition to the physical and psychological challenges, these experiences shaped the character and values of the men who served. The bonds formed during such harrowing times often lasted a lifetime, and the lessons learned about courage, sacrifice, and the power of unity continued to influence the lives of these veterans long after the war had ended. Furthermore, the legacy of resilience and sacrifice has transcended generations. It is a legacy that has inspired humanitarian efforts, personal acts of bravery, and an enduring sense of duty to serve others in the face of adversity. The stories of these airmen remind us that even when faced with the most dire circumstances, the human spirit is capable of incredible feats of courage and perseverance. Today, we honor their memory through ceremonies, museums, and educational programs that preserve their stories and ensure that future generations understand the sacrifices made for freedom and peace. The courage and resilience of those who flew in missions like the B-17 tail incident are a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit and the lasting impact of selflessness in the pursuit of something greater than oneself. These stories also serve as a stark reminder of the cost of war, of the lives lost, the suffering endured, and the impact on both individuals and their families. For many veterans, the physical wounds and emotional scars never truly healed, but they found ways to carry on, often turning their experiences into a source of strength and advocacy for peace. The sacrifices made by these airmen have been immortalized not only in history, but in the collective memory of nations around the world. Through acts of heroism and selflessness, these airmen helped redefine the role of military aviation and its importance in modern warfare. They pushed the boundaries of what was possible, demonstrating the bravery required to innovate in high-pressure, life-threatening situations. The lessons learned from their experiences have been integrated into military training and safety protocols, shaping the future of aviation and combat strategies. The legacy of the B-17 gunner trapped in the falling tail is not just a story of individual bravery, but a representation of a broader narrative, the strength of a collective fighting force united in purpose. Their story reflects the resilience of humanity and our ability to persevere through unimaginable hardships. As we reflect on these remarkable tales of courage and sacrifice, we are reminded of the importance of remembering history not just as a chronicle of past events, but as a guide for the present and future. The spirit of these airmen continues to inspire, urging us to approach our own challenges with the same level of determination, compassion, and unity that defined their actions. Ultimately, the resilience and sacrifice of those who served in missions like the B-17 tail incident remind us that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, hope endures, and through it, humanity triumphs. Their legacy is also a reminder of the importance of recognizing and honoring the contributions of those who served. The sacrifices made by these individuals were often carried out with little fanfare or recognition during their time. But in the years that followed, their stories became emblematic of the shared human experience in times of conflict. The enduring respect and admiration that surround their service highlight the profound impact they had not only on the outcome of the war, but on the moral and ethical dimensions of sacrifice for a greater good. As the world continues to face complex challenges, the lessons of resilience and selflessness from these airmen offer a timeless message that in times of crisis, unity and compassion are powerful forces. The B-17 gunner's story reminds us that the strength of the individual is amplified by the strength of the group, whether it be in the cockpit of a bomber or navigating the challenges of everyday life. This enduring legacy also highlights the significance of storytelling. The experiences of those who served during World War II serve as a bridge between generations, ensuring that the realities of war are not forgotten. Their stories provide valuable context for understanding the sacrifices that shape history and offer a deeper appreciation for the freedoms we often take for granted. In commemorating these heroes, we acknowledge that resilience is not merely about surviving adversity. It is about thriving in the face of it, pushing forward with hope and a sense of purpose. The sacrifices made by those who flew missions, like the gunner in the B-17 tale, remain a testament to the human spirit's capacity to rise above challenges and leave a lasting legacy for future generations. Through their experiences, we are inspired to build a world where such courage and sacrifice are understood, respected, and remembered. Their story is a timeless reminder that the values of bravery, camaraderie, and selflessness continue to shape our shared history and guide us toward a more compassionate and resilient future.